The council meeting for June the 27th. I'd like to start out by acknowledging that we're on the traditional territory of the Cycles First Nation, and it's on their land that we live, work, and play every day. You have an agenda in front of you. Is there any additions or deletions? Seeing none, can motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Okay, you have the minutes of June the 13th and June the 20th committee of the whole. Kind of a motion to adopt those two.
I'll second that.
The errors, additions, things that need to be changed. Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we have one delegation. Mascon, TELUS. Janet or Newton or Darren, which one of you is going to lead the conversation?
Good evening. It's Janet Getty here. Newton has regrets. He's unable to attend today. He's got a family commitment with school kids at the end of the year, so he couldn't get out of it today. But he sends his regrets. He did say he had a great conversation with you earlier last week. So this will be a predominantly a Mascon presentation, and what we've got for you today is we're just going to talk about the connectivity and services that we do provide in the area and the upgrades that we made recently. Recently as in within the last 6 months. And then we'll talk about some of the community programs that we have available for Vanderhoof and all of the surrounding regions that we support as well.
Good.
Yeah. So do we have I've sent a presentation in. Will that be, yeah.
It's up on our board here, yes?
You guys see it? All right then. So what I will do is, I don't see it, so I will run my own so I can see what's going on. So which slide are we on? Are we on the connectivity slide? We go to the next one?
And it's just got you, Darren, and Newton. So is Darren with you?
Darren's actually on holidays. The timing just didn't work out so well. So
right.
Unfortunately, you're stuck with me. Any TELUS questions though, I'm more than happy to either answer, because just to give you a quick history, I've been with TELUS for 25 years as of August coming up, and I've been with Mascon for the last year and a half. So long time with the company, and I've got field experience. I was an installer. I was a manager of the field technicians. I worked in our call centers and our TELUS stores. So I've been very fortunate to have a good career spanning a variety of different roles within TELUS. So hopefully I can answer all your questions. And if I can't, I'm happy to take them away. We'll go to the next slide. It talks about the Mascon update for Vanderhoof.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Gerald and I met a while back, and we talked a bit about some of the services and some of the upgrades that we had done recently in your region. And one of them is we've increased your speeds to the region to 1 gigabit services. So it's an infrastructure upgrade of roughly about $250,000 within that community that we invested into that community that was fully funded by TELUS and Mascon. There was no increase to tax base. This is part of a $3.5 million investment that we had made across the board to all of our Mascon communities, to rural communities, to make sure we can get you guys up to par and up to competitive services, so you can have increased speeds of up to 1 gigabits to serve your residents, increase your reliability in the community. We also want to make sure that you've got access to healthcare, to online education, that if you've got people who want to work from home or run home-based businesses, they've got the connectivity to do so. Now, we do have a strong customer team that works in the Vanderhoof region, and I've been very fortunate to come and meet the team that works there. We've got a strong team that work in the field, both cable repair and what we call installation services. So, and they're very ingrained within the community. So we take pride in the fact that the people who service you and who help the community are actually live in it. So this particular services that we do provide, we go from, we've got packages that are low as 20 megabits per second, right up to 1 gigabits per second. So we've got a variety. So people who don't have high usage, they can take a lower package. People who are really have high usage, they've got a lot of a need for a lot of download speeds. We're able to meet those demands as well. And we've got an amazing package that's going on for the next, I think we're offering it till the year end. And it's $20 off any of our regular packages. So if you guys want more details, I'm happy to send the promos and the packaging information out to you guys. But yeah, so that's what we've done recently in this community. If we go to the next slide, what I can show you is it's the footprint that we've done is the overall footprint. We've upgraded our services to the existing footprint. So we haven't expanded the footprint at this point, but we have increase the capability within the footprint that we have right now. And I believe prior to this upgrade, it was 500 we were offering, 120 in some areas and 500 megabits. So we really did a big jump in investment to this community. And then the next slide will show you a little bit more detail. In this, it actually shows the high speed. The red dots and the yellow dots and the orange dots are actually the TELUS services. And then the Mascon Cable Co area coverage is that fuchsia pinky color. So that's us and the areas that we're able to cover within the community. And then there's one more slide that shows. That's our connectivity in the regions. And I'm going to stop here quickly before I get into our community support to see if there's any questions that come of this and any concerns or anything that's kind of top of mind for any of you.
Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, Councillor Frankel.
So I'm looking at the map with the dots, and just the experience of not having somebody that I know has about 12 megabyte download speed. Tell us, come and take a look at it. They are in town. They're on East 5th Avenue. You got it all as red dots. The system can't be upgraded, is what we were told, that we can't get high-speed internet down, and that's right in town.
With TELUS or with Mascon?
TELUS.
Okay, so
that's my question, because
yeah.
TELUS is providing 12. They say please phone Mascon. So yes. Can you explain how that works on an infrastructure that doesn't support it with TELUS, but now Mascon comes along and they say they can support it, but we still haven't got it?
Good question. That's a great question. They're actually two very different infrastructure. One is a copper-based and one is a coax-based. So they're two different infrastructures. So we're actually maintaining two infrastructures in that community right now. So the choice that we made was to invest in the Mascon infrastructure because it was, let's say, a lower cost and a higher benefit for that. So for us to be able to invest into the Mascon infrastructure, we will be able to provide you up to 1 gig services and very swiftly. It was something that we're able to turn around a build depending on the community and depending on where it is within a couple of months to 6 months, depending on how quickly we can get our engineering and add equipment into the central offices and out into the field. So they're two very different infrastructures. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but it doesn't solve my problem of having 12 megabyte download speed. So
well, you could migrate to Mascon, and we can provide you the same internet services. And one of the things that people are unaware of, and we'd like to try and get the messaging out, some people are on contracts or they have certain pricing and whatnot. We are very competitive with the TELUS, and there is no risk and there's no cost to change. There's free installation with the Mascon services. So if you've got concerns, you've got challenges, feel free. You've got my contact information there. Reach out to me if you've called our Mascon team and you're not quite getting what you expect. Feel free to reach out to me and say, hey, what's going on? Where are my roadblocks? And I'm more than happy to answer or help with any of those questions.
Thank you.
But if you are within the Fuchsia footprint, you can get up to one gigabit services. Does that answer your question?
Okay, Councillor Young has a question.
Just wondering, you might have touched on this, I missed it. How many customers currently does Mascon have within the municipality's limits?
Well, I had an answer to that 6 months ago, and I believe we were just over 600 from what I'm aware of. But I did not get my numbers in time today. So the people who pull the numbers are on holidays right now. So again, you know, it fluctuates with new customers coming in and coming out and whatnot, but I believe it was roughly over 600 from what I understand for internet customers.
Thanks.
Good. Okay, go ahead, Janet.
Oh, you ready for next? Okay, so we're going to move into the community support. So before I jump into the next slide that talks about all the internet for good, health for good, mobility for good, I just wanted to touch on something. When I was in the community, I want to say it was back in February or March, my first visit. When I came into this role, one of the things that is a passion of mine is community investment and working with the communities and finding out where some of those needs lie. And I was working with Hunter, one of the team members in Vanderhoof, and he identified an opportunity for us to do a donation to the backpack program at the elementary school. So I was able to get in touch with Libby Hart, and we were able to donate. It wasn't a large sum, but it was, to me, I didn't think it was a large sum, but to them it was a very big sum, because we were able to fund a good portion of the year for the school year for the backpack program for the kids. So we donated $2,500 to the backpack program. So when I went in March, I had an amazing experience. I met with Libby, and I got to meet people who run the backpack program, people who are working in the lunch program, and very humbling. And it was an amazing experience. I really enjoyed my visit. And one of the things that they mentioned is they were struggling with the refrigerator they have. So in the fall, in August, I will be coming back into that community, and we will be providing a donation to the school, and we'll be doing a community barbecue and celebrating another donation to that school to help them out, to make sure that they can continue to feed all the children in the community. So it's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that really resonated with me. And it's something that I would like to put out to you all. On the Mascon website, one of the things that, again, is my passion, we were able to add social purpose onto our website. So we now have an opportunity for people in our community reach out and say, we were looking for sponsorship, or we're looking for community grants. And we have the ability for you to go onto our Mascon website. If you click the social purpose tab, it just got launched about 2 weeks ago. You can actually apply for grants or funding for initiatives within that community. So it's very exciting. And if you need to you're interested in more information, please feel free to reach out to me and ask how you can apply. We want to make sure that we spread the word and get it out there, so people in need in the communities are able to put in their requests. And what we'll do is we'll review the grants every quarter, and we'll usually notify them within 60 days of the 30 days at the end of the quarter as to who's the successful applicant. And they're up to $5,000 grants that we're providing to the communities. So that's an exciting initiative that we've just launched, and I'm happy to be able to share with you. Something else that we do across the board, not just within Mascon, but within TELUS, and it's something that we started, way back in 2017 with some of it. Internet for Good is probably something I'm hoping you've already heard of, and it's a program where we provide internet services at $9.95 a month for 20 gigabits, or $19.95 for I believe it's 20 and 40. For families and seniors and people with disabilities can apply for the Internet for Good program. So there's certain criteria that they do have to meet, and it is on our website, but there's an opportunity for each of those, for people who have the need for internet but don't have the funds or the income to be able to do it. We want to be able to make sure that everybody across the board can have access to internet services and connectivity, because it is so important to be connected. So that is one of our initiatives that is really, really important, that we want to make sure that we can provide into the communities. So there is, as I said, 20 megabits for $9.95 and 60 megabits for $19.95. We've also got our Tech for Good program. And with our Tech for Good program, it is if you own a mobility device and have a disability, you can qualify our Tech for Good program if you require one of the following. So we've got training and support on how to use your mobile device and accessibility features. We also have recommendations on assistive technology or apps or software and hardware that you can utilize on these mobile devices. You don't have to be a TELUS customer to receive this training or to go through the Tech for Good program. The program supports people with disabilities regardless of their mobility provider. This is something we thought was really important that we were able to deliver out into the communities. It's delivered by experts with specialized knowledge and accessibility to barriers and assistive technologies. This accessible training is provided by the March of Dimes of Canada on behalf of TELUS. So if you want to learn more about how we could offer support, all they have to do is go into the Tech for Good or talk to their individual needs with the assistive technologists at the March of Dimes of Canada. We also have a Mobility for Good program, and that was the one that we launched in 2017, and we've expanded it since. And it was primarily focused on BC, in BC is a youth-focused program to grow and support youth nationally. So it's extended to seniors in 2020, which is really exciting, and to Indigenous women at risk in 2021. We plan to expand this program's reach to impact across Canada. So if you're an Indigenous-led organization supporting at-risk Indigenous women, we wish to partner with you, and they could just go to the Connecting for Good at TELUS.com. So the Mobility for Good offers, what it gives is it provides free refurbished smartphones and plans for youth leaving foster care and Indigenous women at risk surviving violence. It also subsidizes the plans, and it gives them the option to buy a discounted device from Mobile Clinic, I think it's called, and low-income seniors as well. So the digital literacy program that we provide as well through TELUS is called our TELUS Wise program, and there's all sorts of safety workshops and resources that are available. So we've got some amazing programs, and it's something that I've been working really, really hard to make sure that it gets out into our communities, because not a lot of people are aware of them. And last but not least is our Health for Good program. We've got one of these vans located in the downtown Victoria core, which is where I live. We've got mobile health units and clinics that provide healthcare to the vulnerable individuals, including those experiencing homelessness, mental health, and addiction issues. So in partnership with the Kilala Lilam, recently, we launched a new mobile health clinic, which provides a safe space to access healthcare, culture, and ceremony. So these are all some amazing things that we're able to provide into these communities, and I really hope that you all share this and let people know that they're available. Last but not least, I just want to kind of wrap all of this up is if there are any concerns or anything that we can do to support you in the community, any challenges in the outskirts, people are having issues with connectivity issues, please utilize me and leverage me as your contact or your conduit for MassCon. Contact information is in there. And if there's any way or opportunity that we can help in the community, or there's a need that, you guys see, whether it's connectivity, whether it's, refurbished phones or something along the lines, please don't hesitate to call us. We'll do what we can to help and see what we can to provide something. No task is too small. We were more than happy. We've provided, cell phones for emergency relief when Port Renfrew had no connectivity. We actually went to the US to get something that worked off of a US site so they could have connectivity, and provided internet service through a wireless hub. So, no feat is too small for us. We love a challenge. And I think I'm well over my time at this point. So I'll just kind of finish on that. And if you have any questions.
Thanks, Janet. Any questions? Yes.
Quickly, Janet, sorry, Brian here again.
Hi, Brian.
For Good programs are on a MassCon site or a TELUS site?
They're actually on both. TELUS offers, if you've got TELUS connectivity in your region, then TELUS offers it. But if MassCon is an overarching as well, I would recommend MassCon, because the MassCon services in most of the area of Vanderhoof provides a better internet quality services. So it's on both sides of the house, depending on where you live. People, in Fort St. James, anywhere, anybody across BC, Alberta, anywhere that TELUS or MassCon services, we provide these programs.
Okay, Councillor Lozay.
Janet, I was just wondering, is your office local office open again? I know the last time I checked, it wasn't, so I'm just.
Not
wondering.
yet. That is actually something that's come forward from talking to the community when we did a little event just across the street at the bakery, Lobel, and it was definitely there's a strong sentiment behind that. So we are exploring that as an option to be opening that up again. It's just a matter of getting the team members relocated from their homes into that. So there's definitely something we're exploring. It's not a yes at this point in time, but we are looking into it. Yes.
Thank you.
And you will be the first to know. I'll let you guys know if and when that does happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? Just on a point of clarification, Janet, did you say that you've spent $250,000 in the municipality of Vanderhoof on upgrades?
In the region, so that was a number that I got from my engineering team. So with regards to some transport fiber that we put in and whatnot, so it's an overarching dollar value. Now, let me come back and clarify that one, because that was a number I got. But when they give me that, sometimes it includes like the pipe that would also head down to Fraser Lake. So when we say that, let me clarify. That was the number that I got, but it could include, as I say, transport that goes beyond and goes past. So let me 100% clarify, but that sounds about right. Yes.
Okay, so in your thing, you talked about two types of technology. One was copper, and the other was what?
It was coax cable.
Okay,
So it's
which,
like when you've got copper cable is twisted pair, so it's two copper cables that is twisted usually. And then coax is just like it's I don't even know how to describe it.
Like your own.
I can get you some information that can share. I'm happy to share. I've got some documentation that can share that gives you the difference between the two. There's three different infrastructures, and there's a fiber, there's coax, and there's copper infrastructure.
so which one has more capacity, coax or copper?
The coax has the coax does that we have currently. Yes.
And that's through TELUS or through Mascon?
That's through Mascon.
Okay. Any other questions anybody else? It's just incredibly important to us that we get good internet. And I think you sense from some of the questions, probably a year ago, most of us here were on TELUS, and we really struggled with
I bet. Yeah.
And I can show you what mine was before 6 months ago, which was basically 2 and 3 kind of a thing. But like I say, Janet, anything that can happen for the community to get better connectivity is we really need it bad in our children and our youth, and as you said, our healthcare. Much of our healthcare is being done now, with on the internet. So, anyways, thank you so much for your presentation.
I'm happy. And again, you've got my contact information. Please don't hesitate to utilize it. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janet.
Okay, council reports. And as you get, if you are the housing and environment, so I'll start here with the council report.
Okay, I'll start with the other reports first. June 15th, NWR co-chair meeting. On both the 15th and the 22nd, I was at Rio Tinto Reservoir River updates. There'll be another one this Wednesday coming out. June 16th, had an Indigenous Peoples Day Planning Committee meeting. And of course, that leads into June 21st of the National Indigenous Peoples Day. June 23rd was the kickoff of the Ufkai Tachek watershed pilot launch up at Sycas. It was well attended. That was good. We had the full 25 people we were allowed there, plus many more online. June 24th, we had an environment committee meeting. And then, of course, June 25th was the Pride event. That was really, I'll just stick on that one maybe I've glossed over everything else. It was great to see how many people came out to that event. It was a great time, and I think a lot of support was felt by the people that organized it and attended. Going to the Environment Committee action item, one of the things we're tasked with is looking at flood mitigation, dusting off the old plan and looking how we look at that going forward. The committee is recommending that a communications plan be brought forward regarding flood mitigation prior to a town hall, and looking to go forward with that town hall, inviting Lyle Larson to come and speak to it, and there were other, having a virtual forum as well was the other thing. I think that's the crux of it, right? Yeah.
Okay, so we'll come back to that motion at the end of the thing.
Okay, sounds good.
Do all the motions at one shot. Good. Councillor Lozey.
On
Oh,
June,
yeah, let's do that. And I got a couple questions on flood mitigation. Good.
oh, want me to
Go.
Go?
ahead. Yeah.
Okay. On June 15th, I had a housing committee meeting, and I'll come back to the minutes there. June 20th, National Indigenous Peoples Day. It was lovely to cook hamburgers and serve hot dogs in the rain with Councillor Murphy and the other folks that were there. So thank you to staff for all of, oh yeah. I mean,
Smoky eyes.
yeah, we had a smoked counselor. But anyway, it was thanks to the staff for setting up and everything that they did there. So June 22nd, we had an attraction and retention committee meeting, and I'll talk a bit about what we discussed. I think there's a motion on here as well from the attraction and retention committee. I'll speak to that. On June 27th, today I attended the Healthy Communities and Overdose Crisis information for government or local leaders, I guess. And just some really interesting statistics they shared. There are 62 deaths per day. And one of the things that I had never considered, but the problem seems to be moving around with the North, that based on these, what the gal that was facilitating the conversation today, she said these pop-up camps, these work camps. So, and that she said that that's influencing the overdose. We talked a lot about prohibition and the effect prohibition has had on. So, certainly, I felt like it was an overview of the situation. I left really grateful to have the opportunity to have a safe space to ask my questions and be involved in the conversation. And there's much more work to do. And, but it was it. Oh, and you want me to talk about the housing?
You want to talk and then we can do the record.
Okay, sure. So we would like, the committee, the housing committee would like to, after doing some research, Ethan had talked to somebody from Terrace who's involved with the wood blower test program. And that person suggested that we approach the regional district. It would be more efficient and a better use of resources to have the regional district purchase a wood blower test. Yeah, a wood blower. What is it? A wood blower thing. A test.
The door blower?
Yeah, the door blower. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Good grief.
Not sure why.
You know that thing.
Attach at the front door. Right?
That's
The door
right.
off,
Yeah, that's right. To do, yeah, which is going to be required as of December, right? So in an effort to be proactive and waylay any kind of holdups, they would like the regional district to purchase this wood blower test device.
Door blower.
Okay, door blower. And so we would like your support on that. And we will be inviting, as I said from the minutes here, the Revelstoke Community Housing Society, a representative from the staff of the city of Revelstoke to talk to us about their involvement with affordable housing and initiating that in their community.
That's young.
And appraisal too, having the appraisal group come as well.
Oh, yes, right. And at our next meeting, we're looking forward to hear, because appraisals, there's a lot of questions from the committee on how appraisals are conducted and the criteria and some of the things that the appraisers are not considering that they feel are important and certainly add to the cost of housing, to build housing.
Okay. 14th had an agenda committee meeting. 15th, as Councilor Lozey already spoke to, the housing meeting. The 17th attended the Nechaca Valley Collaborative Community Table. Unfortunately, we had time to talk, but there wasn't quite enough for a quorum, so we're having to move that into July now for another opportunity to meet. Attended the flag raising, the Sycas flag here on the 21st, and the Indigenous Days. That was obviously an excellent opportunity for our community to partner with Sycas and Kirsicani. It was a great day. And also checked out the youth center on my way back from the arena and everything that was going on there. It's really nice to have the arena when the rain came down. A lot drier, having that open, and turned out to be a great day. And obviously the Pride Day, we're guessing over 250 people at least were on the park, and it was a great day, great weather, lots of smiles. So it was pretty good last week. Thank you.
Two things. June 15th, I attended the Blackwater Community Liaison Committee, primarily focused on housing. Jerry Peterson was on the call as well, identified a few issues there. Artemis will come back with a few more answers in our next meeting. I think they got a good understanding of where we sit. And I'm going to ask for clarification maybe from them. Just seeing the report or the job opportunities that are going to be produced by Artemis in their new head office in Prince George was a concern. And so that wasn't brought up at a CLC meeting, but don't get me wrong, I can easily miss things, but I think I would understand that one a little bit more if it did happen. So it comes back down probably to the company. I tried getting a hold of the manager, Claudette, just to see what's going on, because it's like an explanation. An office, or is it in Prince George and we've been bypassed? So that's a pretty big concern. I think it's probably around housing and lack of people to find. That's a big issue. So I think that they're going to struggle on a few aspects of that. Anyway, so we talked housing, and then June 25th was the Pride event, and I was only there for a heartbeat because of another thing that Nadine and I attended. But it was really good to see how much support that there is for the diversity that our community has, and I was very proud to be from Vanderhoof.
Just the one thing there on the 25th, just as Councillor Young, which we've already mentioned, was there at the Pride event, showed up just a smidge late, just came over from the ball field. And it was great to see what our community has transitioned to. Long way. If you would have told me as a high school that we'd be where we are today, I would have laughed at you. We've made huge progress, and it's great to see. And I know a few people who are in the gay and transgender community, and they said it was a huge I don't know what the right thing, compliment, ego boost, whatever it was, for them, just to show that there is people in the community that do care about them and that do recognize them. Sexuality, so it was very good. And that's all I got, but I just wanted to make just a personal comment. I just wanted to apologize, Your Worship, to yourself and to the rest of the council, just for my lack of, I don't know what the lack of involvement in some of the conversation that we have and stuff going back and forth. It's been we're getting better now. But again, I do. I hope the rest of the summer isn't the way June's been for me. So I apologize.
What do you need? Thanks.
June 21st, attended the lettering ceremony here at the district office, and then took part in the day over at the barbecue and with Councillor Lozay and Councillor Young and the mayor flipping some burgers and hot dogs there. And Waleed and Rhonda for all the stuff they did, and Heidi, of course, she did everything here. But this day forward, I won't eat another hot dog bun or hamburger bun. I'm done with that. I'm breadless now. I don't know how we flipping bread. And I can also say there was not one negative incident during the whole day, which I thought was awesome. Our neighbors to the back there were having homemade moose stew and they were running out of napkins and stuff, so they come and steal ours and the way they go. Overall, though, it was a great day. 24th, I attended the environmental meeting that Councilor Boucher spoke on. And I wasn't at the Pride event on Saturday for prior commitments, but looking on Facebook, I was quite pleased to see the comments. I didn't see a lot of negativity coming forward. I saw a lot of positive comments, and that just reinforces the good of the event that happened. So it was very good. So.
Yeah, we had a couple RTA updates, 15th, 22nd, I think it was. 16th, I had RD committee meetings. 20th was an exciting day with the Parkview Aurora Place grand opening. And that's been a lot of years that we've waited, and to have this place open and be there. For Parkview is pretty well full. Aurora is going to start putting people in bit by bit, and so the thing is it was just really great to be there. Yeah. 21st Indigenous People Days. Raising the flag here and I said in a post yesterday. Yeah, this week was just none that I can remember that it was just one thing after another, and it went from Parkview Place on the 20th and Indigenous people on the day and the raising of the flag, and I got a sneak preview. I snuck into the Vanderhoof Cultural Center to see the carving on the wall, and yeah, it just made me crack, because that is so incredible. And I don't know how we will get people to not touch the carving. Plexiglass or something, but it is so intricate, it's so perfect. And I talked to Peter's sister, and they have people coming that have been waiting for a while. But she said she was in yet. Thursday. I had a meeting with the TELUS manager, regional manager, just regarding commitment to the community. I was surprised. They made a comment of their commitment to food for children in the area and the fridge. So that was interesting. I think we need to. Pride Day, you guys have all said it. I was so proud. Many of you, like ourselves, this was a first for us, and there's lots of angst as you go into it. And it was a classy, was nothing but positive. I went there with a mindset of I'm going to step in and I'll be ready to go home with it, and we stayed, I think, right to the very end because it was just fun and everybody was happy. Everybody was having a great time. It was totally culturally appropriate for our community. On inclusion and diversity was so strong. And I think Christina did a great job for our community and really helped a lot. I did something really interesting the next day, and that was our first swim meet that we've had at our swimming pool. I know how to do this, do it at exactly the right time. And so the thing is, it was great. The enthusiasm in the stands was unbelievable. It was positive. And over and over again, I had Swim BC, I think it said BC, they could not believe our facility. And Heidi and I congratulate you. Having the arena open right next door to it, they said it was, we were so worried about it. And I remember Brian, I said talking about how do we build this and what it's going to look like. And it has to be connected to the arena because that's how you get. This was perfect. It was, everybody was over there. The staging area was over there. They brought their people in, with their clubs in, on meet thing. And it was, so people from Dawson Creek told me how great a facility it was. Cornell, can't believe that we built it for $12 million. That's the first thing is $12 million on budget. Can't believe it. And the thing is, I'll bet you it's a $30 million project today if we were today, and probably go over budget. So it was a great first. Lots of activity in the town. You saw lots of people camping out everywhere. I'd like to say thanks to you, Young, for allowing them to be in the parking lot because that really helped, and it just made it a community event. And there was, didn't hear anything. Today I had a meeting with CGL regarding the airport terminal and just relayed the comments from council here to them that does not mean that it's a terminal, and so we'll go from there. So in there, I did spend one day. I'll tell you an interesting thing. One night, tells you what my life is like at 69. Went for a drive around town one evening to count vacant building lots. And I know I've told a couple of you how many vacant building lots, but those of you I haven't told, guess how many vacant building lots, service building lots we have in Vanderhoof today?
71.
Thanks, Mike.
71.
Well, no, there's more than 70.
But what about the ones behind us with those triplexes?
I didn't count them.
Not included. There are so many.
There, it's just unbelievable. I went up and down every street.
Wow.
Second, third, fourth.
71 service lots.
Well, over 70.
Okay.
I didn't, where I had trouble is, where the apartment buildings on the top of the hill are here.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of big lots there, where Steve Cool used to live.
Yeah.
And then where Mr. Vasello lived, in there. I can't really count how many there are in there. I put 2 in there, and but anyways, so it's just interesting. Some are people's side yards that they'll maybe have picnic tables set up on it, and that kind of a thing. But there's still a service lot that could have a really great little house on it. But it was interesting. It was just a fun exercise to go around. Questions of anybody? And I guess the one question I have is with the water coming up, which was opened up on Saturday. heard a comment that it would maybe be 30 centimeters that the water would come up,
30 cubic meters,
30 cubic.
11 centimeters.
11 centimeters.
Yeah.
Do you think that's,
I've always thought, and Kevin and I talked about it, 100 cubic meters at this stage is about a foot of rise.
But that's 100 cubic meters, so we're getting an extra.
At this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, 100 cubic meters at 200 isn't the same because.
has anybody put a mark in today to see what it is? Because I know, I went to a friend of mine's place who lives on the river a week ago on Sunday. And we just went out for a ride. And he said, what's happening at the river? And so anyways, we went down and he had put a marker in the day before. And from Saturday to Sunday, it went up 8 inches. And then I heard next day, the guy said on Tuesday, he'd come back. And Sunday had gone up 4 inches, he said. So he thought that week from Saturday to Tuesday, you know, from 2 different people was that.
We do have some measuring sort of, I will say measuring sticks pointing up, like at the end of Sunny Beach Road here and there, but you also do get the height at the station. So it'll tell you in meters how much it has risen at any period of time, right? So that is out there.
No, it'll be interesting. No, we haven't received anything new on elevation. I think Councillor Moutre was really good because they were talking about maybe waiting 2 weeks before we had our next meeting. And once we get into that last foot, we need to have basically, because things could change at any time. Just
Even if it's nothing to report, right? You're having the communication.
Yeah, my concern is not for today. My concern is probably for the weeks to come, and the fact that the Fraser River doesn't need any more water in it down south. Like it's up there. And so I'm worried, just like years ago, they would ask us how much do you want to hold back or release? Thought would be is that if they're holding back, will they release a whole pile once the Fraser goes down? Because then the Fraser can handle it. And does that flood us? That's the one of the questions I think we would ask on Wednesday, because they can't put more water into the system without flooding more houses.
the only thing is there's no more room in the reservoir.
There's an extra foot, right? We know that they could go an extra foot with somebody saying thank you.
Mr. White was on the call.
He said no?
He made it pretty clear.
Did he?
I said, would you be willing to go? I know the water controller is here. Would he be willing to go over 2,800? And he said, I'm on the call and I'm dealing with this, you know,
So
Go ahead.
yesterday, because they have a day old data on the FlowFax page, yesterday it was 2798.81.
So we're still
Under the
foot.
The scary number was the 800 or 850 inflow into the reservoir. And so if 3 whatever come this way and 140 go that way, there's 400 going in that is building up. So,
Well, that's what scares you, because you'd only have to turn off the tap about 2 or 3 days and you could be up that foot pretty fast.
see what it's like after these last 3 days of warm weather.
Well, and then the rain tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes.
It rained a lot.
So did you say it earlier? I missed it. The number going into Fraser was just over 700. What is it now? It's between.
I don't know what it is after the Stewart. It's 720 it was.
Well, it was, but
Yes.
it's gonna be pushing 750 maybe now.
Well, for sure. I don't think there's any more, but I can tell you, I've never seen the soil as wet as it is today. And I dug some plant holes out at the lake for my wife, you know, with some plants. As far as I put the spade down, it was soft and wet. And I talked to Mark Parker and he dug a fence post 2 days ago. He said he went down 3.5 feet, grabbed the dirt and clinched it together, and it stuck together. Right? So, you know, that's totally different than we were in the past. I can tell you We had a really good rain, and the rain would go down that far, and everything below was dry. And so that water is continually going down to the lowest part and seeping into.
All piers at 750. So TG would be slightly more than that.
So it'll be 800 here by the weekend, by the time this new.
Oh, no, sorry, up here. You're asking about how much is going in the Fraser, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and up here it'd be 800. Yes,
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
Good. Any other questions? Okay, let's go to the Environment Committee has a recommendation there. Do you want to make that recommendation?
I'll make that recommendation.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, June 15th, Housing Committee, not a wood blower, a blower door.
Yep.
Door
I think it's actually a doorbell program.
A blower door program. A blower door, right. Something to test, yes. I would like to make that recommendation.
Second that.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, then, on the 20th, we had a community forest action item, and we have a motion here. Anybody want, is that the motion that you remember from the community forest meeting? You make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second that.
Okay. So my question is, Gerald, I know I've asked you this, and I know that others may have it, or maybe they don't. Say an example of that we get into a tough predicament with the works yard program and have to increase the budget. How would we go about going back to the community forest to get some funding to make sure that that project gets done? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I was just having trouble with my microphone. So as of today, without considering the bylaw, it's a matter of passing a council resolution saying, yes, we want to see the community forest reserve used. Yes, we will amend our financial plan accordingly. With the proposed language for the bylaw, council would need to identify something like the public works building as part of its strategic plan that's adopted every year and revised accordingly. Aside from that, if it's not identified in the strategic plan, something like the public works building wouldn't necessarily be eligible under the community forest reserve with the proposed bylaw language. It's not infrastructure that's being built in response to growth and development. It's not recreation or tourism infrastructure. It's not meeting any of the other criteria that are in the bylaw.
Good answer for you guys? Yes.
One question. In our July meeting, we will have a community forest reserve bylaw drafted in front of us to adopt, or, give it reading. Are we not, by this recommendation, superseding what we've said we're going to do in the bylaw that hasn't been brought to us yet? It's just
Through the
a
mayor
matter
to
of-
council.
Yeah.
Through the mayor to council, this is informing what we actually put into the bylaw. So the text of this resolution will inform the language that we use to draft the bylaw and say this is what this reserve is being created for. Without this resolution, we're working off of a first pass at trying to come to what the bylaw should say.
For the reserves, I'm playing devil's advocate. What if I present an argument in July that I don't think we should put in $500,000 to asset management because that's the bylaw that we're dealing with? Do you follow what I'm saying? It's just process. I didn't know what comes first. I'm for what was decided. I'm just trying to figure out what's right. If you think it's right, then I'm fine.
So the 500,000 to an asset management reserve, that can be done by council resolution. And I can let Margaret speak more to that because she's She's done this throughout her career. But you don't need a bylaw to move money from the community forest reserve into an asset management reserve.
That is correct. So the revenue that comes in from the community forest is already in general revenue. So we can just say, instead of putting all of the revenue into the community forest reserve, 500 will go to the asset, the rest will go to the community forest reserve. And that can be done by resolution to direct the funds that are already in our financial plan. The other items will be part of the bylaw that's been drafted. Different things.
So the bylaw, we would, Margaret, we could strike asset management 500,000 to reserves because we're approving that tonight.
Yes, that's
Okay.
not included in
So
my
we
draft
wouldn't need
bylaw that I did. No.
Okay, good. Thank you for the clarification.
So, Waleed, just so I'm clear, the motion that we're voting on right now are the two recommendations, am I right?
I was working on the first one, just because we have them as two different action items. Two resolutions would be good.
Okay, so it's the first one? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, second action item to move 500,000 into the reserve for asset management for the next 5 years.
I'll move the recommendation.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, attraction retention committee. Action item.
Do you want a motion or do you want
Yeah.
to speak to it?
Do you want to do the first one then?
Yeah, I'll make that motion that to direct staff to facilitate the organization of a community resources leader guide.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, is it a leisure?
Yeah.
I thought organization of a fair.
Oh, that's the second one. That's the second recommendation.
No, it's the first recommendation.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, affair, sorry.
Okay, so it's a fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the first recommendation, any discussion? Any comments, Gerald?
I'll actually just refer a question over to Heidi just to see what kind of funding we have within the events budget for this kind of event.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. We were actually, this is something we would like staff to do, not for 2022, but for 2023.
Okay.
It's not something that we felt we
Okay.
had capacity to do this year, either in staff resources or finances. So it's just something to have on our radar and to move forward with. So that's.
So it should be this recommendation to be done in year 2023.
Right. Yeah, let's clarify.
Okay, Councillor Murphy and then Councillor Young.
So in essence, are we looking at bringing back the sports collegiate fair we used to
That's
have
right.
years ago?
Yeah.
Same,
Same idea.
so around the same time of year?
Yes.
Okay, Councillor Young.
So I know with the tourism committee, they talked about something similar, so this is one thing that's concerning when we do things, at separate committees. So I think it'd be nice to know what this would look like. And I'm not talking about the fair, I'm talking about the guide.
Oh, okay, can I talk?
Because we talked about digital processes and other things, so should we somehow work, have that conversation as a group or what? Because I think if you're moving down that path, it's good, but I think there's two different things. Do we define one, or do we do two different things? And I think there's a discussion there, because one would be maybe more tourism related, or does it have to be? So I think there's some conversation that should.
But you're talking about the guide, not.
Yeah, some of the guide, I just.
Okay, let's just do
Sorry.
the fair,
Okay.
and then let's go to the guide.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody else want to talk about the fair?
So this would include the rec fair? Or is this something?
This
separate
is
to the rec
the
fair?
rec fair, that's what, because I believe that rec fair has been in the past, but it's.
I would hope we would be doing the rec fair this year.
That's what
The Y's done it in the past as part of their contract, so. We're post-COVID now, so
Yeah, I think only the last 2 years we couldn't do.
yeah, it's the COVID issue.
Yes.
If I may, from the mayor to council, when it comes into with planning that, the fair is usually planned much earlier on.
I'm not sure I'm getting what you're saying.
my understanding of how a recreation fair would go about is that the planning for it would start sometime in April, and between now and when the fair would be on, there just isn't enough time or staff capacity for it.
It's part of our Y contract, is it not?
Mayor to council, I'll look into that and see what I can do and look at what I have left in funds, because I know I'm trying to spend it all. So I will have a look, and if there's funds, we'll do it.
But is it not part of our,
contract.
is it not part of our contract? Can you check to see?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a funding issue, and I don't think it's a staffing issue. I think, like Councilor Mutri said, I think what I remember of it, if it's a rec fair, it was part of the WISE contract.
So if it is
Through the mayor to council.
Yeah,
So
you
right
hang
now,
on
we
a
don't
second.
know if it's a contract item within the WISE recreation contract. However, staff will look into it and come back to council with more information about that.
Okay, Councilor Lozey.
And I would just like to make sure that it's just, the rec fair is for all recreation activities in the community, not just ones that are provided through the district. Which is why we are also wanting to include a volunteer piece in there. So some, like at the rec fair, that there is a spot where people can get information about volunteer opportunities and make sure that that volunteer piece is promoted as well. So rec/volunteer opportunities, because I think they go hand in hand.
Perfect.
Yes, I didn't realize the Y had done one, so in the past that they were involved with this.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, then over to the guide.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you like me to speak
Yeah,
to it now?
sure.
Okay. So when we had our meeting on Wednesday, the Attraction and Retention Committee thought it would be really prudent of the community to create a guide. I call it a leisure guide, but a recreation guide. So not only recreation opportunities in the community, but also resources that are health resources in the community. I had talked to somebody who was involved with the recreation guide in Saskatoon, and she said that in 2019 they have one that's published, a paper copy of the guide that used to get delivered to every mailbox, but since online has become so popular, they found that wasn't really a good use. They do continue to produce them though, and they're distributed throughout the community, similar to the way we distribute our advertiser. They're free. But she said in 2019 they had 14,000 online views, so they're still relevant. And I did a little bit of looking around, like searching on the internet, and there's many communities, large and small, that produce these leisure guides. So we would really like some direction given to staff by council to look into producing another leisure guide. The first step, of course, is drafting some timelines for marketing activities, and as Megan suggested, those, for the fall, they need to start in April. But anyway, we would get that clearly find one easy place to see what this community offers. And it's a good reflection of our community for folks who might be considering moving.
So would this include, before I get a second, just a point of clarification, would it include tourism?
Yes. Well, I don't know. We haven't discussed the tourism piece.
Would you second it?
Well, I'll second it, and I totally agree with the mayor's point, and this gets, this is not up for discussion tonight. There seems like there's some overlap between tourism and attraction and retention. And when you go to Valemount and Mount Robson and Smithers, and you see all these other communities with their programs, the Rack and Vanderhoof has nothing, nobody knows where Vanderhoof is.
Yeah.
That are going to those, they don't know.
Yeah.
So I agree with the mayor. We need somehow the committees not to be on two different tracks. They need to get together and say, okay, let's do one guide or one whatever that can suffice all of the needs. And I think we've all talked about it as councillors, that there is that common.
Do you want to comment on
Just further to Councilor Franco's point, I think the guide part is a great idea, but I think it's a perfect spot for the Chamber of Commerce to jump in.
Yeah.
And become a partner.
That's going back a decade, a little more. We used to do it in collaboration, right?
I think that's too early. I think they're still be done to them, and they're still being organized, they're still growing. And this exact situation we've had in the past, for all the reasons that Council Jose's talked about, we've had them. And they went away because no one took sole responsibility and put staff time to it and made sure it happened. And so if we're gonna do this, I think we need to get it going, and then maybe we do collaborate once it's got a bit of a framework, and then we can hopefully and be partners on it. But I think to start it, we have to allow them to grow back up to their capacity. So I think they'd be keen, but I don't think they're there to be a full-blown partner on this at this point. That's just my opinion. But yeah, and I guess, I think I know at our committee, we talked a lot about the digital component of that as well, and having it so it's interactive and meeting the needs of people that are traveling through that way as well. So, but getting them out on those sure counters and other places across BC is a huge piece still for people who are going to tourism and checking out everything. So, yeah.
I think it's really important. We talked about housing and availability. I hear Vilma's, building quite a few houses right now, and mostly it's not because they have industry there, but they're just seen as a destination place. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, is there any questions from the public on anything on the agenda?
I don't forward any emails.
So then going into correspondence for discussion, seems on Hospital Auxiliary Society is raising money for
A wheelchair accessible bus.
Yeah.
Recommendation.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, nothing, no incoming, no outgoing correspondence. Annual municipal report. We already looked at it. Megan, would you like to make any comments? I know you said you had to do some picture changing after the last draft.
Yes, so through the Mayor Council, this version is just the finalized version after edits have been completed and reviewed from the CAO, CFO, and the corporate officer, as well as changing out some of the original imagery. Was not able to contact the people.
No motion to
Adopt.
second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. UBCM asset management planning. Who's speaking to that? Corporate services.
I can speak to that. To the Mayor Council, we are through our application to the UBCM Asset Management Grant. There was noticed a mistake on the previous resolution, and for the application was for 25,000, and we had written the resolution to be for 15,000. So this is to correct the resolution for the application.
I'll move the recommendation.
Yeah, I'll second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Procedures bylaw. Bylaw number 1243 adoption.
I move we adopt bylaw 1243.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, 11.1. Believe you have items on your desk. Am I right?
So through the mayor to council, there's a report in front of you on your desk. authored by our Director of Operations. I'll be passing over the item to the Director of Operations to provide a verbal report, just recognizing that both this and the next item were received earlier this day as items that are extraordinarily time sensitive.
So through the Mayor and Council, this first one is the UBCM Strategic Priorities Fund Capacity Building Stream Grant application. And staff is asking that council support the application for the amount of $99,800 to finance the sewer master plan. And further, that council commit to finance the district's proportion of the cost estimated at $49,800 from the sewer operation.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, the next one.
The next item in front of you, Mr. Mayor and Council, is the UBCM Strategic Priorities Fund Capital Infrastructure Stream Grant application. And this application would be to Strategic Priorities Fund Capital Infrastructure Stream Grant in the amount of $1,335,037 for the water main upgrades at Nechako and Clark, which would include 4th Street and 6th Street.
Not 5th?
Not 5th. Oh, sorry, 4th through 5th, 4th to 6th.
So 4th, 5th, and
Yeah,
6th? From Nechako to Clark?
So, Chad, correct me if I'm wrong. It's Nechako and Clark from 4th to 6th. So it's the 2 linear roads, not the cross streets.
Not the cross streets.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah. North and south.
So there's a water main that goes up Clark Street on that steep part?
Yeah.
Really? So to build 4 blocks of water main is $1.3 million?
Well, the other inclusion in this is some of the storm infrastructure, which would be also the, I apologize, I got the information late this afternoon, so information that was sent over to include some of the works.
Chad's looking at that. We did that this spring. Like the road right in front of my house isn't related. There's not, it's just the road.
Through the Mayor and Council, just looking at the information provided from, and this is just a Class C estimate from engineering. It would include traffic control, some removal and relocations of asphalt or some of the existing asphalt, some of the surface works, water main replacement, and also some of this water storm crossing and then topsoil and hydro seeding, which would include upgrades. Those upgrades.
There's a recommendation in front of you. Anybody willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Seconder?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Any discussion? Seeing none? Do you have a question, Councilor Young? No.
Just to clarify, this is 100% funding from the grant, right?
That's correct. This is probably the only grant that offers 100% financing.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. A special permit event permit.
To the mayor to council, there's a recommendation before you. The corporate officer and director of community services can provide more information if needed.
Somebody want to make this motion?
Move to approve.
Yeah, I'll second that. Councilor Brink.
Any questions, comments from council? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, and then I have a motion, recommendation that council hold an in-camera meeting immediately following the adjournment of the June 27th, 22 regular council meeting, and that meeting be closed to the public pursuant to the community charter to discuss appointments, a land matter, and negotiations pertaining to a new municipal service under sections 91, A, C, and K. Further, that all persons other than the mayor and council be pertinent staff be excluded.
I'll move that.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And can I motion to adjourn the regular meeting?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Carried. Do you want 5 minutes?